From an astonishing net worth of $120 million to owning shares in sports teams, here's Mark Harmon's insane lifestyle revealed. I have to start with his net worth of $120 million. I mean, how did the actor even make this amount of money? Well, he only has NCIS to thank for the most part of it. After all, it's one of the longest-running TV series in the USA, and the cast salaries remain one of the show's largest expenses. So this might give you an idea about how much they're actually making. Now, Harmon played a huge role in the popular CBS show's success, as he plays the main character, Leroy Jethro Gibbs. And of course, being the main man has also made him a multi-millionaire. But he didn't get there by chance. He had to grind a lot to reach this stage in his career. For those of you who enjoy watching these crime-solving shows, he's a household name. Harmon was loved by the fans for all the time he was on this series, and that's why the creators were paying him this much money to stay. That being said, while he did make all of his money from acting, this isn't something he always did. Oh no, Mark had a life before acting. In fact, he was well on his way to becoming a pro footballer, which is what his father, Tom Harmon, did professionally before he stepped into sports broadcasting. Harmon played junior college football while he lived in Los Angeles for 2 years, and he was so good that he even received offers from other major universities before eventually choosing UCLA. Oh, and he was a starting quarterback for 2 seasons there. But after graduating college, he went on to pursue a career as a director of merchandising. Still, he wasn't happy with what he was doing, so he finally decided to switch over to acting, and we all know how that turned out for him. His appearance on Flamingo Road in the 80s was what launched his career properly, and it made him into the Mark Harmon we know today. Now, I've talked so much about the money he made from NCIS, but how much was it exactly? Well, he made $525,000 from each episode. Oh yeah, you heard it right! That's some big money. In fact, according to Celebrity Net Worth's estimate, the star actor was ranked as the 6th highest paid TV actor in 2018. I mean, the man earned $19 million a year, which is just astonishing. But what does Harmon even do with his $100 million? Well, he spends them like one should. But not too much, though. First of all, let me just make one thing very clear. Some people claim that he's a cheapskate, someone who's always in old and dirty clothes and doesn't buy deodorants. But these are all baseless rumors. They only say this because Harmon's very private about his personal life. Plus, this doesn't add up with the amount of money he's made over the years. I mean, why would someone walk in old and cheap clothes if they're making millions? Especially when they're such a huge superstar. And even though he's pretty private about his life, it's known for sure that he and his wife own a $9 million mansion and a Montana ranch. Apart from this, he's a simple guy. Like, Harmon doesn't like to spend his money on extravagant things like all other celebrities. Okay, I know that a $9 million mansion doesn't count as a humble dig, but still. In one of his interviews, the 71-year-old said that his passions are hanging in his 1972 Airstream trailer, carpentry, and rehabbing old homes. See, I told you that he's a simple man, but buying expensive mansions isn't the only thing he spends his money on. Harmon's an avid car collector. In fact, some sources say that he owns as many as 35 cars, but it's still unclear what the exact number is. Still, there are a few that have made the list, and I must say, they're things of beauty. One of the most popular cars he owns is a 1962 Corvette. He bought this car with his other half, Pam Dauber. What makes this car special is that they bought this car for only $5,000, which was when Harmon was struggling to pay his bills and had only been acting for a few years. That Corvette's been in his garage ever since and has been passed down to his sons. Another car that's been on every list of the cars owned by him is the Dodge Dakota. This was, according to some reports, the first vehicle ever purchased by the actor and his wife after they were married, and it also remains one of his favorite cars to this day, obviously because of the memories attached to it. Today he's got a 1962 Chevy 210 and a 1982 Chevrolet C10 pickup truck, and a few other classic cars as well. By now, one thing must be clear to you guys, which is that the NCIS star only loves classic cars. Well, who doesn't? But the ride which he used to come in at the sets of the show isn't a classic at all. It was an Aston Martin Vanquish S, which cost him $250,000 at the time. But cars aren't the only thing he bought to move from one point to another. Mark also loves boats, and he owns a few of them as well. According to the Rob Report, the NCIS star owns two expensive boats. One of them's called the Spartina. He bought this boat in 1998 for a staggering $1.5 million, and the other one's called the Strawberry Moon. The price tag of this boat is as special as its name. It cost him around $2.25 million. Mark uses these two boats to sail around the Pacific coast. You'd think that two boats are enough for one man, right? Apparently, they aren't. He owns several other boats as well, including the 31-foot Sea Ray Sundancer valued at $310,000. But he only uses this boat for fishing trips with friends or family. The 71-year-old is also a man of power, so he owns this little power boat called the Free Spirit, plus a 50-foot peak-decked boat with 2 bedrooms and a bathroom. These are just too many boats for one person, aren't they? And when Mark isn't spending his money on boats and cars, he's busy giving his money back to the community. Just like all good-hearted actors in the world, he spends much of his time helping people who need it the most. And yeah, he's supported several charities in the past. On the actor's 70th birthday, for instance, he and his wife raised more than $1 million through the Pitch In for Kids program. Oh, and this is just one of his activities, which really makes you realize why he's one of the nicest actors in the world. Coming back to NCIS, though, it helped him make so much money, and yet he still decided to leave it in the end. But why? Well, there are a couple of reasons why. First off, Harmon said he left the show just to keep it fresh in the air. He said, plot-wise, this character has taken a path, and it feels to him as if it's the right path, and that he was completely okay with it. But that isn't the only reason why he left. In 2020, the actor who played Gibbs for 19 seasons hinted that his age played a big role in his decision to leave the show. He also said that his character's constantly evolving, and the character's getting older and so is he. So it's tough for him to deal with all this. Honestly, it's not easy to do the same thing for 19 straight years. Kudos to the man. But after he left the show, the viewership saw some sort of a dip. A lot of people were attracted to NCIS because of him, and when he left, they decided to leave with him. Despite that, NCIS is one of the most watched shows in the US right now, and that's why it's been here for such a long time. But of course, Harmon's got a bunch of interests other than acting that he really likes to spend money on, and that's sports teams. The actor seems to be an NBA connoisseur because he owns parts of teams in 3 different cities. Apparently, the NCIS star has a 1% stake in the Portland Trail Blazers, the San Antonio Spurs, and the Los Angeles Lakers. And while these won't be considered majority shares, there's still a lot considering the team's estimated values at billions of dollars. The 71-year-old also owns a piece of the MLB franchise, Los Angeles Dodgers, and the Staples Center. Oh, and yeah, they're obviously not going to earn him enough money to pursue other investment opportunities, but they've made it clear that the actor has got a good eye for sports franchises. So there you have it. From owning shares in sports teams to an astonishing net worth of $120 million. That was Mark Harmon's insane lifestyle revealed.